So today now we are moving to chapter number 2 of macroeconomics, which is titled Basic Concepts of Macroeconomics. Before we go into the content of this lesson, let's take a quick recap of what we did in chapter number 1. In chapter number 1, we studied about the circular flow of income. Then we went on to discuss the 3 phases in the circular flow of income, constituting the generation phase, distribution phase, and disposition phase. We understood the concept of 2 variables in economics. One is the stock variable and the second one is the flow variable. Then we went on to discuss the 2 kinds of flows which takes place in a 2-sector model, comprising of the firms and households, that is the real flow and money flow. In this chapter, Basic Concepts of Macroeconomics, the content of this lesson is as follows. We will be talking about domestic territory or economic territory. We'll be speaking about who are normal residents. Then we will go on to discuss the difference between factor income and transfer income. What are final goods and intermediate goods and how to identify goods as final and intermediate. Then we will go on to discuss the difference between consumption goods and capital goods. Understanding the concepts of gross investment, net investment and depreciation, including net indirect taxes and net factor income from abroad, is very important part of this lesson. So basically we are going to understand some basic concepts of macroeconomics which will lay the foundation for understanding the numerical part of national income accounting. To begin with, let us understand the concept of domestic territory or what is known as economic territory. So if we ask anybody what is a domestic territory or economic territory, the person will say that it is the political frontiers of the country which define the domestic territory or economic territory. But if we ask an economist as to what is a domestic territory or economic territory, he will include certain other parameters to this domestic territory or economic territory, and let us see what all other things can be included in domestic territory or economic. The first thing which we are going to include is the ships and aircrafts owned and operated by normal residents between 2 or more countries. To explain this, you can take the example if Air India operates its flights between India and Kuwait. So in Air India flights between India and Kuwait will be considered as a part of domestic territory of India. Similarly, if Kuwait Airways operates its flight between Kuwait and India, the Kuwait Airways flight will be considered as domestic territory of Kuwait. This is how you can explain. You can take example of ships also. If an Indian ship, for example, you all know about INS Vikrant, if it comes and docks on the harbors of Kuwait, it will be considered as the domestic territory of India. Similarly, if a ship from Kuwait, owned by Kuwait, comes and docks on the harbors of India, it will be part of domestic territory of Kuwait. So, when we talk about economic territory or domestic territory, remember ships and aircrafts which are owned and operated by normal residents between 2 or more countries will be considered as part of domestic territory of the respected countries. Domestic territory also includes fishing vessels, oil and natural gas rigs operated by residents of a country in international waters where they have exclusive rights of operation. This is also a part of domestic territory of the concerned country. So if you want to explain it further, you can say that the Indian fishermen who are working in the international waters of the Indian Ocean will be considered as domestic territory of India. Similarly, you can talk about natural gas and oil rigs, which, like Mumbai High, which are operated in the Arabian Sea, that will be part of domestic territory of India. The third category, which will be part of the domestic territory of the country, are embassies, consulates, and military establishments of country located abroad. If you want to understand this further, you can talk about Indian embassy located in Kuwait and Kuwait embassy located in India. So if somebody asks you if Indian embassy is located in Kuwait, it is a part of domestic territory. It falls under the economic territory of India. Kuwait embassy, which is located in India, it will be a part of domestic or economic territory of Kuwait. So this examples of whichever country you are staying, take the example of that country and your embassy located in any other country and try and understand the concept that way. Similarly, military establishments also located in any other country will be part of domestic territory of the concerned country. There are certain exceptions to the domestic territory, and we must keep this in mind that the domestic territory does not include the following things. The first one is embassies, consulates, and military establishments of a foreign country. These are not part of the domestic territory. For example, if Korean embassy is located in India, it is a part of domestic territory of Korea. Similarly, international organizations like UNO, WHO, which are located within the geographical boundaries of a country, they are not part of the domestic territory of the country or economic territory of the country. So these two are exceptions which we must remember while we are classifying the country, a particular company, a particular thing as domestic territory or economic territory. Our next topic to understand is who are normal residents. It's nothing to do with mental normalness. It's something to do with where the economic interest lies and where the institution or individual is located. So, explaining who are normal residents of a country, it can be an individual or an institution who ordinarily resides in the country and whose center of economic interest lies in the country. So if you are going to explain what is center of economic interest, center of economic interest, children, can be: first you earn, after earning you spend, and after spending whatever remains you accumulate. So these three activities, if they are performed in the concerned country, then you will be considered as normal residents of a country. So again, repeating, who are normal residents? It's an individual or an institutional who ordinarily resides in the country and the center of economic interest lies in the country, that is, earning, spending, and accumulation lies in the concerned countries. There are certain exceptions to this definition of normal residence, and again, to understand this concept better, we must understand these exceptions and keep in mind these exceptions which are there for normal residents. After having spelled out the definition of normal resident of a country, it is time now to study about the categories which are not considered as normal residents of a country. The first category which is not considered as normal resident of the country are foreign tourists and visitors moving for the purpose of recreation, for holidays, your cricketers going to other countries to play the matches, basically for any kind of sport when you are visiting. If you are visiting a country for a conference or for medical treatment, these categories of people will be considered as normal residents of the country from where they are moving, not the normal residents of the country which they are visiting. The next category of people is foreign staff of embassies, officials, diplomats, and members of armed forces of a foreign country will be considered as the normal residents of the country from where they originate, not where they are working. The third category is international organizations like UNO and WHO. They are part of normal residents of the international area. Very important to remember, because our next point is related to this. They are normal residents of the international area, not the normal residents of the place where they are operating. The next category of the people who are exempted as being normal residents are employees of international organizations. We've just given examples of international organization like the UNO, like the IMF. So these international organizations, if a person is working for these international organizations, let's take an example. If an American is working in the WHO office in India, should he be considered as a normal resident of India? No. But there's a catch over here. If his stay is more than 1 year, in that case, he will be a normal resident of India. But if his stay is less than 1 year, he will be considered as normal resident of America. The next category of people who are not part of normal residents are crew members of foreign vessels, commercial travelers, and seasonal workers. They are normal residents of the area from where they are moving and not where they are visiting. But here also, if the stay or duration from where they are moving to the new place, the stay is more than 1 year, they will be considered as normal resident of that particular country. The last category of people which we need to discuss before we do an exercise on normal resident is border workers. We know lots of people, they cross the international borders on a daily basis to earn their living. So such border workers, should they be considered as part of normal residents of the area where they are working, or should they be considered as normal residents of the place where they are moving from? So here please remember, in this case the border workers, where they are living, that will define their normal residence, not where they are working, because they are spending, they are accumulating their wealth in the place where they are living, and this will define that border workers are the normal residents of the place where they are living and not where they are earning. Now we'll be doing a small exercise to understand the concept of normal resident in a much better way, so that even if any doubts remain after having understood the definition and exceptions, they should hopefully get removed. So the first one which we are talking about is Indian officials working in Indian embassy in China. See, Indian officials, and we are talking about Indian embassy in China. They will be considered as normal residents of India, as we have learned in the exception category. The second one is Chinese tourists, that means foreigners who stay in India for 2 months. So they will not be considered as normal residents of India. So we write N. The next one says Indians going to Sri Lanka for watching a cricket match. So they are just going for watching a cricket match. They are staying in India, and we've learnt it as an exception category that they will be considered as normal residents of the country from where they are going and not of Sri Lanka. The next category is foreigners working in World Health Organization located in India. So that 1 year catch is not there. So they will be not the normal residents of India. They will be normal residents of the country from where they are coming from. The next one is some foreign technical experts working in India for a period of less than 1 year. So here again, it's a foreign technical expert and the other catch is less than 1 year. So they will again not fall under the category of normal resident of India. The next one is local people of India working in the office of International Monetary Fund. So our SCA, that is earning, spending and accumulation, is happening in India. So they will be considered as normal residents of the country. The 13th one is Indians working in UN office located in America for less than 1 year. So everything was okay, but here it is less than 1 year. So these Indians will be considered as normal residents of India. The 14th example reads that Indian employees working in WHO located in India. These people will be normal residents of India because their center of economic interest lies in India, that is earning, spending and accumulation. The next one is foreign tourists visiting India for a month to see the Taj Mahal. So all the categories are there, which tells us that they are not normal residents of India. Next is Indian Muslims going to Hajj on a pilgrimage. Such category of people come under tourism, so they will also be considered as normal residents of India, not the place where they are visiting for Hajj. The next category is Indians working in foreign embassy in India. They will be considered as part of normal territory of India. The simple reason being the center of economic interest lies in India. The next one is foreigners working in Indian embassy in UK. They will not be normal residents of India. They will be normal residents of the country to which they belong. Then the next one, foreigners working in WHO located in India. Since the catch of 1 year is not given over here, our international organizations and the employees exception stands over here. So they will not be considered as normal residents of India. The next one is foreign students undergoing military training in defense training colleges. So this is part of our first exception and they are just coming here for a short period of time. So they will not be considered as normal residents of India. Foreign sports official. This was also the category of first exception which we did, going on a study tour where we spoke about conference or any other thing like holidays, recreation. So they will be not a part of normal residents of the country because they are foreigners. The next one, Indians going abroad for medical treatment and staying there for 10 months. So it's less than 1 year. So they will be considered as normal residents of India. The last example is foreign technicians. The key word is foreign technicians working in India, and the other keyword which will help us to give this answer is less than 10 months. So they will also not be part of normal residents of India. Like this, you can create your own examples and get this concept clear for understanding national income accounting. After having understood the concept of domestic territory and normal resident, we are now going to understand the slight difference between citizenship and residentship. Since most of you are students of class 12th, you already know that most of you are citizens of India by birth. So citizenship is basically a legal concept. You become a citizen of a country by law of that particular country. But suppose you are born outside your country, you can acquire the citizenship of that particular country by applying for the citizenship of that country. For instance, many of you are born in Kuwait, but you can still be Indian citizens by applying for citizenship of India. So when you are born, your parents apply for the passport, and automatically, because of your parents, you get the citizenship of our country. So basically, citizenship is a legal concept. It's based on the place of birth, and you can apply for the citizenship in case you are not born in India through your parents. The next concept is regarding who is a resident. Now, all your parents who are working over here in Kuwait, they are citizens of India, but they are residents of Kuwait. So, they are here in Kuwait because of a reason, and that reason is here their work. So, residentship is more of an economic concept because they are doing this economic activities of earning their living in this country. So they are residents of Kuwait but citizens of India, and this residentship is basically based on economic activities, and individual can become a normal resident if he ordinarily resides in the country and his center of economic interest lies in that country. And residence, we have already spelled out, should be more than 1 year. To be more precise, if we say that an American is residing in India for more than 1 year, and as earlier learned, he becomes the normal resident of India. But will he be the citizen of India? No, he will not be the citizen of India. He is just a normal resident of India. So basically, we conclude that a person can be citizen of one country, and at the same time they can be resident of another country. And you all sitting in Kuwait are a very good example of residentship and citizenship belonging to two different countries.